Well, welcome to my review of the A1 Mini. Sorry for the not so great audio quality, I can't find my mics, but let's get into it. So, this video is not sponsored by Bamboo Lab in any way. I did purchase this for myself about 2 years ago, and I got it with the AMS, which you can kind of see in the background there. And there's a couple of features. I'm going to go over the bad things first. So there are a couple of things. I'll point you guys up so you can see, but sorry, I'm getting caught on things, but you see that pen? And you see that? Yeah, it got caught on there one time, pulled its Z level down, which I guess is a good thing because that means it's extremely strong. But the issue was, it thought the bed was misplaced. So what would be great is if we could get an upgrade of some sort that tells us that the Z-axis isn't moving, not that the bed's misplaced, because I don't really want it to do that. That worries me because, like, it held, it's just fine. But I mean, it's held in with 4 screws, but on the other end, it's held in with this weird plug type thing. But yeah. So, as you can see, this is the speed record benchy for the A1 Mini by Bamboo Labs. And I'm doing it in a yellow color from my local 3D printing store. So, you can see it's inside earlier. I'll show the time lapse and I'll pause it at where we had mistakes. But we had an over extrusion in it. So of course, it's meant for speed. Not the printer itself, but this certain G-code file, so issues are going to happen, but you can't even see it because it was interior. But as you can tell, it's pretty quick. It's kind of in one of the slower parts. You'll see in the time lapse a little bit better where it goes fast and slower, but this one, again, I've had for 2 years. It came out, and I think I bought it about a month later. It does have some interesting features. It has the kick plate here, which is less of an interesting feature, more of just an interesting way they designed it, because I'm not going to touch it while it's going so I don't get my hand squished. But it does it in such a way that sometimes it misses and kicks it onto the build plate, which isn't great if you're doing a massive AMS print. But the interface, I'll move you guys down, I'll take you off the tripod so you can see that, but the interface, I'm going to move on to the goods, because there are some more bads, but they're just so small it doesn't really matter. Oops. But, yeah, I'll show you the interface. So, I don't know what just happened, but in the time that I paused to talk with another family member, it automatically paused itself or somehow shut itself off. And I have had this once before, but this one was different. It said it had power loss, so that's interesting. So I don't know, and what I think I just figured out is I have it hooked up to this breaker down here if we ever have a surge in power, and I believe I kicked it with my tripod, like I just did right there by accident. But it's a great feature that I'm going to show you guys right now. It has recovery. So, middle of a print, it's going to give me a warning here. I'm just going to click resume printing, and that's it. Really nice, simple feature. This is the interface. Press the... I don't know if that... Yeah. It's a little bit laggy sometimes. But this is what it looks like when it's printing. It'll change for when it's not printing. Sorry, it's probably kind of hard to see. I don't know if I have the hertz set right. But you have assistant. That's for if you have an error during printing. Settings. You got a ton of settings. I'm going to blur all that. But all of these you can see. These are just miscellaneous settings. Firmware settings. You can see you can update it via the internet, or you can update it via offline. You put the update on the micro SD that it comes with, that goes in the side here too. I basically never remove it because I never have a need to. You have all your control settings. I'm not going to touch these right now because it's printing, but you can see it's moving really slow because it doesn't know where in the world it is, and it doesn't want to knock into the print, which it probably will, but this is what it is. I'm going to grab this tiny piece of filament here. But you have your XYZ controls for if you're just trying to get parameters or something. You can see it. I'll let you see that. We might get lucky here. Oh, I guess it didn't get off course. Point being though, during the print you have these controls available to you: nozzle temp, bed temp, speed control. Speed you don't actually get a pick, sadly. So you either have silent, which is 50%, standard 100%, sport, which is 124%, or ludicrous, which is 166. Oh yeah, you also have a light. And speaking of light, I use that whenever I have a time lapse on the camera. And the picture quality isn't exactly what I would call insane. It is very, very poor. It doesn't do that great of quality. It records in super low FPS, so when you're in the live view on your computer, the Bamboo Lab Handy app, it's not good at all. But the time lapses are pretty good. The quality's not insane. FPS is pretty low, but it does what it does. If you think you've had a failed print, you can just go into Bamboo Lab Handy and see that and pause it. So that's nice. Moving on to filament, you have this filament section that'll show you all your filaments, what one's currently being used. You can edit them in here, or you can edit them in the Bamboo Lab Handy, I believe. I don't really mess around with the Bamboo Lab Handy. And you have an external spool. And it can run TPU because the head, if you know what an Ender 3 is, which hopefully you do, Ender 3 has a motor that would, say, be mounted like the AMS unit and would shove filament into the extruder, instead of the extruder having that's the motor turning, instead of it having a motor that turns on the inside. So the motor is right above it, so that's why it can do TPU. Pause it really quick so I can put this guy back on. Okay. But yeah, besides that, it's really easy to use. I think it took me about 15 minutes to set up. I had 2 or 3 screws. Plug in the AMS, hook up filament, and then run a first setup. It does vibration compensation and all these fun things that you can look up on their website that'll help it make more sense. And the hardest part, honestly, in terms of maintenance, is lubrication. The lubrication is very much a pain to do because it's really hard to get it on the bottom sides. The Y-axis isn't too bad. The X-axis, if I'm getting these right, is kind of a pain, and it's never actually informed me to do the Z-axis, unless I've just forgotten, because I have had this printer for 2 years. So moving on to the AMS, I haven't, the downsides, of course, compared to, you can watch CNC Kitchen. He has a great video on AMS compared to, Tool Head Changer. That's a great video. And it explains the true downsides of the AMS, which is purging poops, as they're known in the bamboo world, compared to a tool changer that barely uses any filament to tool change. But it's really nice to have for multicolored prints. Here's a decent one. I will cite the author that, but you can see 3 different colors in the same print. You can do up to 4. Sadly, with the A1 Mini, you can't do more than 4, like on the X1 or P1 or the new H series printers. The ups, I think I just told you the upside, but multicolor, very simple to use. You load filaments and you're done. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay for extra tool heads, which get very expensive. If you've ever looked at the Prusa XL, it's like $7 grand for a full setup without an enclosure. So yeah, it's a little bit cheaper, but it uses a lot more filament. So if you're going to be running like just prints like this, and every once in a while do a multicolor print, like this will work just fine. But if you're looking for like something a little bit more high end, you have a little bit more money to spend, or a lot more money to spend. I think you can do 2 or 3 and then 7. It might be, I think you can go 1 through 7. I could be wrong on that on the Prusa XL when you purchase it. And yeah, they're also more of a pain because you have more parts, mean they're more likely to break down, but at the same time you're dealing with a machine that is Prusa quality, which is pretty darn good. You can see it's about to finish here, and when it finishes, that'll probably be the end of my review. So I'll leave this in silence, get you a close-up. Oh, sorry, speaking of which, now that I think about it, sound. It's extremely quiet for how fast it is. The fans are the loudest part of it. So like when you're ramping up fans, that is the loudest part. But besides the fans, it's pretty quiet. So, what I'm just noticing now is, I'll show you once it comes forward. It always comes forward at the end of the print, so if you're planning on doing a time lapse with a camera, just be cautious of that. I'll grab this filament off the end here. But I'll show you something. It looks like layer shifting. It could be under extrusion too. I'm not great at that type of stuff, but we're gonna find out. It does have nice little sounds too, so I'll let you listen to that. Shut her down so she can cool better, but I'm gonna take her off the build plate really quick. There's a tiny bit of filament purge at the beginning. It'll be double that, which isn't bad at all if you plan on doing what is it called? Filament calibration. So you might be able to see it. There's a little bit of layer shifting or under extrusion. But in terms of quality, this is pretty darn good, especially for how fast I had it going. That was probably when I tripped the breaker on it. But yeah, so thanks for watching. Yeah.